What up guys, and welcome back to my channel. I got my hair did, like I said I would, but enough about me, that's way too much about me. Let's explore the truth behind Brandon and Calvillo's relationship. And I quote truth because it's honestly become increasingly difficult to know what's true and what isn't when the sources of information have become somewhat unreliable. Brandon posted a video on his channel with his girlfriend defending the accusation that he was dating a 17-year-old when he was 23. But before we get into that, let's start from the top. Brandon Calvillo is a content creator with around 300,000 subscribers on YouTube and 1.5 million followers on Instagram. He first became big on the discontinued app called Vine, where he had 6.4 million followers.
So this is Hector. Okay. Oh God! He's adorable. Hey, little guy.
Last week, Brandon suffered what I like to call collateral damage. Trisha Paytas did a video meant to expose David Dobrik after breaking up with her boyfriend Jason Nash. Trisha was crying and venting about David, Jason, Jason's ex-wife, and Brandon.
Brandon, in their friend group, was dating a high schooler last year. She was 17 years old.
Obviously, this raised a lot of eyebrows because Brandon being 24 right now, he was 23 last year when he started dating her. 17, 6 years, age gaps exist, that's okay, but she wasn't of legal age to consent. Regardless, both Brandon and his girlfriend came out with statements on their social media denying Trisha's claim. Brandon said, "I just wanted to clear some comments that were made regarding me today. My girlfriend is currently 18 and we started dating when she was 18. To be clear, we never dated when she was 17. His girlfriend's statement basically echoed the same thing, saying that she began dating him when she was 18 and that she was a freshman in college. Now, I did look into this a little bit and she did technically graduate high school a year early, so she wasn't lying about that part, but people began to speculate that maybe they were lying after they got a hold of this clip from David's vlog posted on February 23rd of last year.
So you've been seeing this girl for a month?
Around a month, yeah.
Do you love her?
God. Her name's Lacey. She's 18, 19.
You're like, I hope. Is Brandon good at sex?
Honestly, yeah. Like,
Hell yeah, Brandon. What's up?
I'm not
Brandon's like, you want to skip this movie?
Both Brandon and his girlfriend ended up deleting their statements after people started bringing up David's vlog. Huh, smells fishy in here. Anyways, fast forward to Friday, and Brandon posts a video to his channel with Lacey, and they finally respond to the accusation that he began dating her when he was 23 and she was 17. I'll be sure to link the video in the description so you can watch in full, and you know that I'm not cutting anything out of context, but these are just the things that stood out to me.
About a year ago, I created an account on this app called Bumble, where you can kind of meet new people and meet up with them and chat with them. And on my profile, it said I was 18 years old, and at the time I was 17. I ended up matching with Brandon, and we started talking and immediately just clicked.
Dude, I freaking called it.
Is Brandon good at sex?
honestly, yeah.
Hell yeah, Brandon. What's up?
I'm not.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that admission, I think they could have gotten away with maybe saying that they met on Tinder and she lied about her age because she was about to turn 18. But the fact that he straight up admitted that he dipped it in an underage girl and also celebrated by doing a high five with David, bro, oof. On a serious note, this just confirms lie number one said on camera. She just admitted to lying about her age to Brandon on a dating app. Because yeah, Bumble is a dating app, and don't let her have you believing that it's an app for making friends, because it sure as hell isn't. And they're a prime example of a success story from the Bumble app. And my main problem with this is not that she lied about her age just because she was about to turn 18. I know some people think that's okay, and that's fine, that's on you. But the problem is that she acknowledges that she lied, but never in the video does she acknowledges that it was a mistake. She never says sorry or feels bad at all. She doesn't show any remorse, you know what I mean? Which leads me to believe that she doesn't think it was a problem. Just like she doesn't find a problem boasting about her underage drinking to her 77,000 followers on Instagram.
I ended up matching with Brandon and we started talking and immediately just clicked. He was really cool, and so we decided to get some food and hang out a couple times.
Yeah, and when we were hanging out, I kind of gathered that we felt like more friends than anything else.
You felt like you were friends? The context so far is that you met on a dating app, Bumble. And you know, I've used Bumble before. I'm aware that it has a BFF option, but unless something has drastically changed in the last couple years, not many people really use that option. And if they do, they're usually already in a relationship or they're not really looking for a relationship, which both of you obviously were. So it's gonna take a little bit more than that to convince me that you guys were actually just friends in the beginning. And of course, there's also the context from David's vlog that heavily insinuates that you both liked each other as more than just friends.
The third time that we hung out, we were going to the movies, and my friend David, who vlogs, he decided to join us and try and film it and make a bit out of it.
Is he a romantic guy?
Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, you like pick me up and shit.
And shit.
Yeah.
Is that romantic?
And I know the argument against this is that generic, it was just a bit for David's vlog, but was it? I mean, can you literally just get away with doing anything as long as it's on David's vlog? Like, can you just say, oh, I just punched a kid that I have no idea who he is, but it was for a bit. It was for David's vlog. When are we gonna start taking accountability here? And question for you, Lacey, can you actually look straight into the camera and say that Brandon has never picked you up or done anything romantic for you before hanging out with David? Did you really make that up just for a bit? Was every word you said to David, the first time you met David, just a bit for his vlog?
Are you seeing other people right now?
Currently, no.
Wow.
I mean, like, that, never mind.
What?
Ooh.
No, you can say. No, let's get into this now. Let's get into this.
I'm, like, not dating anyone else.
But are you hooking up with somebody else?
Not somebody else. But, like, if
Multiple people?
I mean, seriously, are you both just really good at improv together? And if so, why aren't there more examples of your wonderful work online? Now, if you're a subscriber of mine, you're probably thinking, whoa, Edwin, you're being a little bit more harsh than usual, don't you think? Well, here's the early spoiler. Brandon has actually already poured his heart out for Lacey before they were official. Brandon was in literal tears as he opened up about how he fell in love with Lacey on a podcast that he posted on April 10th of last year called 9 Minutes. This has literally been under everybody's noses too, because Brandon is so proud of this podcast that he has it promoted as a highlight on his Instagram and even re-uploaded the podcast to his main channel on YouTube in November 5th of last year.
So me and this girl had been seeing each other for about 3 months. I remember I talked to her once. I said, what are we doing? And she said, well, I really like you. I just don't know. She brought over weed, because I remember when we smoked last time, I really liked it, and I just wanted to do that one more time.
And here's what his fans are probably getting ready to say. But Edwin, he didn't say her name, so how could you be so sure he's talking about Lacey? The thing is, he didn't have to say her name, because in the podcast, he says that the girl likes to smoke pot. And guess who else likes to smoke pot?
You are high. That's a really good assumption to make because I'm high like 90% of the time, but this is the 10% where like I'm not at all. I'm completely sober, believe it or not.
He also said that he had been seeing this girl for the past 3 months or so. The podcast was posted on April 10th. 3 months before that is March, February, January. The timeline fits with her appearance in David's vlog, in which he had said that he had been seeing her for about a month or so. And in case some of his 1.5 million fans are watching and are dissatisfied with these deductions proving that Brandon and Lacey are in fact lying to you, then lucky for you, there's a little bit more I got for you. On his podcast posted on October 2nd, his co-host said this.
Brandon got a little bit sick yesterday and couldn't record. And he was also busy all week last week with some new girl in his life. If you go to his Instagram, you can find out who it is. Yeah. Except you went to Disneyland with some dame.
Yeah, I was at Disneyland with my girlfriend.
So how's that relation going?
It's good. It's great.
And is this the one that 9 Minutes was about?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
People have been wondering.
Oh, well, life's weird.
So at this point, it's pretty much case closed. There's no denying that they're both lying through their teeth to their viewers just to save their reputations. But let's go back to their video just to see what else they're lying about. Now, this is the part where they talk about Lacey joking about Brandon being good in bed in David's vlog.
It was weird because we hadn't had sex at that point.
We did not sleep together.
And it's all very laughy. It's just kind of what we've always done, which is very casual, like joke, almost like friends with benefits kind of thing. She told me she made out with this guy. And when we were seeing each other, we never said we're exclusive. We never said that. It was always just, I think we're friends with benefits kind of thing.
So again, in Brandon's podcast, he had discussed seeing her for the past 3 months in a friends with benefits type of way. And he said that they weren't exclusive. So okay, we can give him that. They probably weren't official, but they were hooking up. It even gets to a point where he discusses her going away for some time, and then he says this.
Because you're going to go away, and I'm not going to see you. And she was like, yeah, I don't know. And I said, well, do you want to have sex one last time? And she said, that's weird that you said that, because it's exactly what I was thinking, and I was afraid to say it. And so we do that, and it's not because we've had sex before, but it was just this overwhelming. We are also high, remember this, but it was overwhelmingly emotional. It was like it was pitch black, and I was just feel like we were just making love.
Now, considering this had been posted in the beginning of April, the 3rd month of them seeing each other, it is possible that maybe he didn't sleep with her until after her 18th birthday. But in the podcast, he does say that they had been sleeping together several times already. And of course, that it wasn't just sleeping together, it was making love and feeling love for the first time in his life. But considering how naturally she said it in David's vlog, both of their body languages, it's just hard to believe that they didn't sleep together before she was 18, you know? And especially considering all the lies they keep piling on us. How do I believe these two people that are just lying on top of lies?
We were making these jokes and they are very inappropriate because I didn't know she was 17 and neither did David.
So they really want us to believe that they had not slept together when she was 17 at the time of David's vlog. And instead, they want us to believe that she was making a joke that a 23-year-old man was good in bed with a 17-year-old. That's the joke? Where's the joke, Lacey? And why aren't you owning it up? Why aren't you saying that it was a bad joke and that you regret making it or that it's stupid? Why is there no accountability in these people? That's my problem. They're not owning up at all.
In hindsight, it looks really bad, and we would have never made those jokes had we known.
Oh, Brandon, let me remind you, you didn't make the joke. It was Lacey that made the joke after David instigated by asking the perverted question. You're saying we would not have made those jokes had we known. But the thing is, Lacey knew her own age, and you didn't make the jokes. David simply asked the question instigating because he probably assumed that she was legal. I mean, why would he think you would be dating an underage girl, you know what I mean? So if it's a joke that you regret having out there, why are you saying that in hindsight it looks really bad? Instead of maybe having Lacey show some remorse and say that it was a stupid joke and saying sorry for making you look like a total creep? What?
The next night, I see that the video's posted, and I go to the comments, and one of the first comments is from a girl that said she went to your school, like a long time ago, and she said, I knew Lacey in school. She was born March 1st, 2000. She's 17 years old.
Right.
And I read that, and I just went, oh my God, like...
Yeah, just especially with the whole video, the whole entire situation just looked really bad.
It looked terrible. And so I called you and I asked, is this true?
Yeah, and I said, yeah, it's true. I understand if you never want to talk to me again, if you never want to see me again.
Oof, you found out she was 17 through a YouTube comment? Man, that's awkward. I hope you dumped her after that.
I freaked out. I didn't know what to do. So I called David and he just was like, dude, everything's fine. They're just jokes. No one's done anything wrong here. It's okay.
Okay, I see what Brandon's doing here. He's pulling Trisha here and trying to cause some collateral damage and bring down David with him. He's trying to say that David enabled his relationship with a minor. Because after all, it was just jokes, right? 17-year-old girl sleeps with a man 6.5 years older than him. No big deal. Just a joke.
I called you back and I was like, we can't talk for a week until you turn 18.
At least until I turn 18, yeah.
And that's what we did. We waited a week.
Wait, you just went from saying that there was nothing wrong because it was just jokes after all to cutting her off for a week because that's when she was going to turn 18? So you waited for her to turn 18 for what? I thought you were just friends. I feel a little bad because it seems like he's got some sort of disconnect and is maybe even starting to believe his own lies, and also his audience like largely seems to be supporting him even though he is so obviously lying, you know? And it sucks because I did enjoy some of his videos, you know? So, like, not that it means anything, but I'm losing a lot of respect for this guy.
And I kind of decided that, like, since we had been hanging out for, like, it's probably like a month before then, I just didn't want to throw away, like, our relationship.
Uh-oh, someone had a Freudian slip. Did you say you didn't want to throw away your relationship? But in all seriousness, what is there to throw away when you knew this girl for what? A month and a half at this point? And she lied to you about her age? She was literally a minor and you decided it was a good idea to continue pursuing her? Bro, why not get back on Bumble and find yourself a new friend? I mean, 17 is the average age a person is when they graduate high school, and 23 is the average age a person is when they graduate university. Maybe it's just me, but I don't get it. Unless, of course, maybe it was too hard for you to let go of her because maybe in that time window of a month and a half when she was 18 that you were seeing her, that's when you fell in love with her, as you so vividly describe in your podcast, which is really disturbing to listen to, knowing the context.
And shortly thereafter, we started seeing each other romantically, and now we're in a loving relationship.
Yeah.
And we're both happy and healthy, and we love each other.
Lacey, you scare me. Just because you weren't official before you turn 18, it doesn't make it okay.
People have been blowing this thing completely out of proportion.
Uh-oh, dude, blame shifting and avoiding accountability, not the way to do it. You were both caught in a spider web of lies, you know, and it seems like you're both stuck on there and you can't help but keep on lying about everything. So I don't think it's so much the internet blowing it out of proportion, you know. Stop it. Take some accountability, please. Like, you're parading your relationship with this young girl, okay? And people are concerned because, dude, I don't know. I feel I shouldn't have to explain this.
And I can understand why, but with our story, like, it's okay. Like, I'm 24, you're about to turn 19.
In 2 weeks, I'm 19.
Like, there's no problem here, like, at all.
Let me say this real quick. I don't generally have problems with age gaps. I do, however, have problem with liars and age gaps when they deal with teenagers. You know what I mean? Or even 18. It's still a little bit weird, don't you think? I mean, just because she was so close to the legal age, that's okay? Because as many people have continued to point out, the legal age of consent does vary from state to state. So in New York, it's 17. So this might have not been seen as a big deal, but personally, I still do think it's a big deal, even if the law doesn't. Bear in mind, the age difference here is 6 years and 5 months, okay? So if we were making an equivalent scenario to California and New York, then the example would have to be a 16-year-old about to turn 17 dating a 22-year-old. As a viewer watching right now, I want you to ask yourself, is it okay for a 17-year-old in a state where the legal age is 18 to be dating and having intercourse with a man that is 23 years old? Okay, and next, of course, is it okay for a girl that is 16 about to turn 17 where the legal age is 17 of consent to be having sexual intercourse with a 22-year-old? Another example, Las Vegas, the age of consent is 16, so how about a 15-year-old just months away from turning 16 where she can consent to being in a relationship with an older man? No limits. So if she was in a relationship with a 21-year-old, you wouldn't think it's weird? You would be okay with that? Because if so, then okay, we respectfully disagree on our points of views.
People ended up digging through my social medias and stuff like that, and they ended up finding my LinkedIn. And on my LinkedIn, it says that I had been working for Brandon as his personal assistant since January of 2018.
Oh, shout out to Petty Page for that one.
On their profile, as you can see at the bottom of it, it says that her last job was being a dog sitter. If you go over to her LinkedIn profile, which is something I was able to find as well, you will see that her current job position is actually as a personal assistant to the director of Gilman Park Productions. So I decided to take a look into who Gilman Park Productions are, and that is, and you've guessed it, Brandon Calvillo's production company. So basically, it just goes to show if that's the only job history that she's had since, which I'm assuring you is something that she put onto her CV because she knows she'll get a good reference from her partner.
And that's not the case. What happened was when we were officially together, I just ended up helping him with, I brought him some food and stuff like that to like his shoots and stuff, and just helped him with a couple notes. And I put it on my resume and said January because that was when we met.
Okay, so another example of her having no problem lying. She is openly just admitting to lying on her resume to fluff it up, make herself look good because her previous job was just being a dog sitter. You were really ready to go into a job interview and tell them that you worked for your boyfriend and you know how to work for a director even though you technically don't. Oh, man, this is not looking good. This girl is so dishonest.
It's just, it's really crazy to both of us and silly that all this is being, I don't know, like...
People just assume things, and it's really disheartening.
Is it really crazy, though? Is it crazy and disheartening that people assume things based on jokes with actual substance to back them up? Or maybe it's a little bit more disheartening to fans when they find out that you both lie so much and fail to acknowledge your mistakes and take accountability for your actions. Here's a lesson I hope you've both learned from all this. Don't make jokes based on things you claim you haven't done, while simultaneously leaving a trail leading people to believe that you have done these things.
We are real people with real lives and real relationships, and it's just a total invasion of privacy.
Wait a second here. So people finding content that you've put up online yourself voluntarily on David's vlog, Brandon's podcast, your own birthday, your LinkedIn, that's an invasion of privacy? Okay, another quick lesson. If you don't want people to find something out, don't put it on the internet. It's called social media for a reason. I mean, social media is web-based media that people consume for the purpose of interacting socially. Come on, Brandon. You're sitting right next to her and you've had internet fame for years now. Do better.
Once again, we just think it's really silly, and that's it. I mean, I don't know how to end the video.
And you know what I think is silly? You both failing to own up to a bad statutory rape joke.
Thank you for watching, and
Bye!
Okay, and it looks like the ending was the only part they didn't rehearse.
Because I've had sex before, but it didn't feel like that.
Wrong.
It felt like it was lasting forever, and it felt like better. Just completely, it like blew my mind.
Man, I listened to his entire podcast the other night at the gym, and knowing the context, knowing who it was about, made me feel so uneasy because he legit, for 50 minutes of the whole podcast, he went into tears just describing how in love he felt and like how he could die happy because he at least felt that love for someone. Anyways, at the end of the day, this has just become another example of whether you can separate the art from the artist. You know, can you keep watching Brandon and Lacey happily knowing that they're both liars? Well, it's up to you. I mean, they're only lying about their relationship, right? As far as I know, I mean, they could lie about other things, but hey, you could still enjoy Brandon's car ride videos and Lacey's jeweling selfies. But if you're new to my channel and you enjoyed the video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. A big theme surrounding my channel is accountability. You know, when people fail to own up, and if it annoys me enough, that's when I come in. You know, just hold people accountable. Just be responsible for your own actions, and you should be good. I mean, especially when you're an influencer with over 1 million followers. Damn. Big shout out to my Patreon supporters. Sometimes I do live shows on this channel actually, so make sure to subscribe with notifications, that way you don't miss them, because I don't keep the live streams on the channel. And before you go, let me leave you with this iconic vine made by Brandon.
All right, so 1 beer? Yes. Can I see your ID? Here you go. Please don't call the cops.
I guess part 2 of the vine would have been, yeah, your ID checks out. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.